Hi, my name is Bose Ironsi, and I'm the team lead of Women's Rights and Health Project.
Nice to meet you, Bose. My name is Ogochukwu. I currently work for Trust Africa. I'm a program officer for the African Philanthropy program, and I also work on other special initiatives that we currently don't have on the programs.
Oh, nice. That's
you.
a good one.
Thank you.
You are doing a lot, I guess.
Yes, we are.
Okay, so, you know why we're here? We're trying to kind of discuss and interact.
Yeah.
And I will say you should relax. It's just a discussion.
Thank you.
Okay. What is feminism to you?
Well, so for me, I always tell people that I take the most basic definition of feminism, which for me means fairness, right? Fairness, in terms of that all men and all women should have the same rights, the same dignity, and the same courage to do what they want to do. So for women, it may tilt a bit differently. You then start talking about equality. Why? Because there are barriers that, stop women from sometimes having the same rights as men. What are these barriers? Lack of access to education, early marriage, and things like that. That's why you see that a lot of initiatives, even in my own organization, most times tilt towards the women, just propelling them a bit more so that they are also at par with the other gender. So that's what feminism means to me, fairness. So how about you? What does it mean to you?
Well, feminism is about it's about choices. It's about respecting me as a human being first before every other thing. Feminism to me is equal opportunities. Feminism to me is telling me that I should go.
Yeah.
And I can go as far as I want to get to. Mm-hmm. So feminism also means that I should not just be at the table of decision making, but I should also be able to take critical decisions that affect me.
Yes.
So for me, that's feminism, equal opportunity, ability to not to discriminate against me because of my sex. Mm-hmm. Feminism to me is also saying that my bodily integrity must be respected as a human being. Yes. So that's what feminism is all about to me. It's also about choices, ability to make choices, my career, what I want to be. So for me, that's feminism.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Bose. So we'll just dive right into the second question.
Yes, I think you can do that.
Okay. So what are the challenges feminists have experienced in your time?
Wow. That's a great question.
Yeah.
And I want to say that a lot. The whole misconception about what feminism is all about was very critical. Even within women groups, even within the women, there was not accurate definition about what feminism is. Some see it as, we are not trying to measure ourselves as men. Mm-hmm. We hate men and all that. Mm-hmm. Then that's another thing. Another thing is that those who even understood what feminism is about were not too comfortable with the fact that you are not going to be measuring shoulders with the men.
Yeah.
They see it as measuring shoulders with the men. They weren't looking at those gaps that are there between a male child and a female child. Mm-hmm. Like I used to say, Bose Ironsi is having twins. I'm going to give birth to those twins, and the difference between those things will be their sexes. Mm-hmm. Let's assume I have a boy and a girl as twins.
Yes.
I shouldn't raise them differently.
Yes.
I should raise them for both of them to be able to achieve what they do. But you see, cultural belief system tells the male child, the female child, this is where you should go. Mm-hmm. And the male child, this is where you should go. So you see, those are constant things that we face. And then political representation. They don't believe that we should have a voice at all. Mm-hmm. just believe that, patriarchy was very high.
Yeah.
They just believe that you shouldn't say anything, you should just, at the end of God,
Yes.
violence against women, discrimination.
Yeah.
How can you go home and tell anybody that your husband is beating you? It's not hard. You should take it as part of being a strong woman, being a respectful woman to the man.
Yes.
And I feel that those were really things. And then I also cannot negotiate my sexuality. What do I mean by that? My bodily integrity, my body autonomy. I cannot take decision about my, maybe how many children I'm going to have, whether I want to do family planning, should I be involved in taking decisions to say, this is the number of children I want to have, without being reminded that if you don't have a boy, if you don't have a male child, that you are not yet a woman. So these are factors, that will fought over time. I remember my mom saying that she didn't go to school because, yes, she wanted to go to school, but there was this conflict about why would you send a girl to school? After that, she gets to get married and all that. So those were the conflicts that were there. So they were not opportunities for us. And then again, it's about equal pay. Should the woman earn same salary with the man? In short, how would you even get that? Working in the same space and the woman, you are not known to be earning salary. Do you understand? You should not earn the same pay because the man is the head of the house, is the breadwinner. So, and you as a woman is supposed to just be comfortable with slicing the bread. So, and for us as people who understood what human rights and somebody that is also a human being sees that as something that is derogatory. And so it was a lot of fights, fighting patriarchy, making, looking at control, not able to take decisions that even affect me as a lot of women died because they have had 5 or 10 children and they couldn't say no. Because the husband said, I will not sign for you to go into to have a family planning. So those were the issues that we fought. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So for me, and I think you said one of the things I wanted to share. One of the challenges now is that if you talk about feminism, it's like, oh, you hate men. Oh, you want to kill men. Oh, you don't want to get married. Oh, you only like women, and a lot of these things. And then for me, who is married, and because when people ask me, I say I'm a feminist. Like, I believe in fairness. It's like they now tend to want to, let's say, look down on your husband, that he's enabling you to be stubborn. He's enabling you to be strong-headed. He's enabling, and this is basically patriarchy. I understand that.
Fighting back.
Yes. I understand that we grew up with a lot of things. That's why we're trying to learn and unlearn. But I think this is a very big challenge. Chioma had mentioned yesterday in her welcome speech that in the last 2 weeks on Twitter, it's been hell for feminists, because there was an issue, and then you could see the vitriol and a lot of negative words said about feminists. And some women were so happy with how, there were some clashes, feminists and some things they were doing. So you can see that, I don't know whether maybe people don't really understand the true definition of feminism and what we are trying to achieve. Maybe they just think that women just want to fight. We just want to, and honestly, it's exhausting. Because I was speaking to someone who I thought was a feminist, and she says, I'm not a feminist. I was like, okay, why? And she says, oh, like there are so many definitions, that have you seen the latest? And I'm like, I really don't care like who is bringing out what. I follow what's in the dictionary. It's about fairness. It's about ensuring that girls, women, they are able to do what they want to do. And I gave an example. I said, I'm a Christian. I go to church, but we have fanatics. I will not say I will stop being a Christian because I have fanatics. No. So I made her understand that you can't allow people to stop you from pushing, advocating for these women because of what they're saying. So for me, I feel it's just, our environment and what people are saying and how sometimes it just tries to, dampen us, affect us. So that's one of the challenges in my time.
So, but I don't think that if you listen to us, where they see it as a foreign ideology, that's why are you talking about feminism? It is not in our culture. In our culture, the man is everything. He takes wrong or right decision. You'll be, zombie. You just go on and accept. But you guys are lucky because you even have a platform now to talk about what we get with pushbacks.
Yes.
Instant pushback is either you are sent out of the house to say, why can't I be this? And then you go back to your family and they said, yes, why would you want to be who you want to be? That's not the culture. So everything is tied around about what exactly are you looking for? What is it? But now you have platforms, you have a place to talk about. A lot of people get beaten, were killed and all that as a result of. I remember my, one man telling me that, Bose, you are not going to last in marriage because your ideology is just different. And of course, I think that being strategic, being resilient, and being consistent in what you believe in, it matters. If you want to come around to say what I'm doing is wrong, so leave me alone. And I think as feminists, we should not be afraid to be alone. We shouldn't. We shouldn't be afraid because most times that's the fear. Oh, I'm not accepted by the society and all that. There's no way the society is going to be until we started doing analysis of female genital mutilation. People see it as something that is medically right for female to be circumcised. But if you look at it, it is wrong. It is not biologically and medically right for any female to be circumcised. What it is there, it is just that she would not enjoy her own sexual body. But they gave us a lot of paintings around it to say that, I remember my mom said the father shot a gun and it is something of celebration and all that. On my own pain, why would you be celebrating on my pain? And then after years, some years ago, I was invited to give a talk in the United Nations CSW, and I talked about female genital mutilation and how that has affected a lot, the death, the abuse and all that. And when I got home, I was speaking with my 95-year-old mother, and she looked at me and said, and I gave her details about what has happened, how biologically, of course, I have a medical background, was able to tell her, and she was like, so do you mean we were stupid when we did that? And then she told me, I must tell you, it was really painful. I never, so there were no opportunity for them to express themselves. So there were no voices, there were no safe space for them and all that. But the younger one these days, you have safe spaces. You have places where people are telling you, move on, go on. Rather, the other way is that don't ever try to even move.
So I agree with you. I remember when my mom came for Omugwo. So for non-Nigerians, Omugwo is, when you give birth and your mom comes to just, take care of your child. So for the first child, when I'm saying to my husband, oh, do this, she called me aside and I was like, oh, don't do it. Don't tell him. Don't. I said, no, not in this house. We know how we do it. And then I tried to talk to her and she was like, she didn't know, she doesn't know better. Her mom didn't teach her anything. Her mom taught her, okay, you must take care of your husband. The woman must do this, the woman must do that. But one of the things I found out was that when she came the second time and when she has been coming subsequently, she didn't say all those things because now she understood. She would just say, I'm feeling uncomfortable. Let me leave the room. At least she's not saying it. So I feel like she's learning. And she would, unlearn. So I understand you when you're saying we shouldn't stop. Yes, we have opportunities and there are people propelling us, but, we still have our own challenges and we still need to, go through our own challenges, in this generation. Is this the next question?
Yes.
Okay, you were supposed to read it out to me.
What is it?
Okay. So what conversations were taboo in your generation that are more open now, or vice versa? Do you want me to start?
Yes.
Okay. A couple. So now you hear more about surrogacy, right? And surrogacy was like a taboo. Like 2, 3, 4 years ago, I remember telling someone after my first child that I think I want a surrogate. Hey. I'm like, but now a lot more people are doing it, and especially people, people who are facing infertility are doing it, which is good. Another thing is, so for women, whether married or my people who want to have children, they are now able to say, okay, I just want two kids. It wasn't like that before. Me, one of the things when I got married, I said, I only want two, whether boy, whether girl, as long as we hit two, we're done. But I don't think it was like that before, because you hear, if you have 3 girls, you need a
I'm not
boy.
giving birth to a child.
Exactly. My sister has 4 boys. She didn't want 4 kids, but she was looking for a girl. So things like that. So I feel like I'll just give these 2 examples of, things that are now more were a taboo and are now open. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to talk about things that were taboos when we were. Let's start from intertribal marriages.
Yeah.
You cannot really go and marry somewhere else.
But it's still happening now.
Hold on, it's there, but it's not as much as it is now.
Okay.
Even from community, there's always a story. There's always a narrative as to why you shouldn't go and marry this. So you are always told about a lot of things.
Yeah.
And of course, you are mentioned about sex selection.
Yes.
It has to be a boy or a girl.
Yeah.
And then the issue about reporting your husband if there is domestic violence.
I agree.
That is also shifting
Yes.
from the way it used to be.
Yes.
I mean, I remember that I had to more or less fight my brother for slapping the wife. And he didn't talk to me for several years because he felt, sister, but why would you fight me over that? She's a woman, I paid her bride price. And that's the belief system.
No.
So, and then again, the issue about a woman able to take decisions now.
Yes.
Before, the selection of a career, taking a decision about this is what I want to be. Mm-hmm. I remember I wanted to be a theater artist. I wanted to be a broadcaster. I wanted to see because I used to see people on TV those days. Mm-hmm. Even though the TV, you have to smack it before it starts. Not this new generation of that's it.
Yeah.
And then what do you find?
Mm-hmm.
My parents said, is either you are a teacher or a nurse. And the whole essence was that I should close by 2:00, and the nurse, I will have to run to go take care about the kids. Yes, I practiced nursing for several years, but then I still went back to do social work. And today I'm all over the place. Mm-hmm. So, and they wonder, how are you able to do that? Mm-hmm. And then just like you mentioned before, people come to call your husband, come. Mm-hmm. How are you able to cope with this woman today? She's there and all that. Because I have interacted with him to say, I hope you understand the nature of my work, that I have to do this and all that. So that is gradually changing. Of course, in the political representation, women are not just voters now, but they're also, occupying political positions, even though it's still very insignificant.
I was about to say that.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of work.
Yes, political, it's still very insignificant.
Yeah.
But that, and I think there are also, there's more solidarity among women now. Mm-hmm. Because I must tell you, at our age, younger, when we were much younger, you see even feminists fighting among themselves, saying, you want to take everything, my voices must be heard. But now, they are opening up to say that every voice matter. You know, it doesn't matter whether you are, there was nothing like inclusivity,
Yes.
looking at the persons with disability, for example. People are programming for them. We are also programming to say that elderly people, elderly women should also be cared for. So those pockets of inclusivity and making sure that everyone is carried along is still there. So, and going back to say that we must also remain in those traditional roles,
Yes.
is beginning to shift. For example, inheritance rights.
Okay.
You know, people are no longer saying that it must. Men are beginning to write will. Before, they weren't writing will. I was a victim of will writing. My dad wrote a will and never give me any land property. What he did was to give me an ogbono tree that never yielded the fruits. What he did was to give all those things, because it's never in anywhere.
Yeah.
For him to have even put my name in the will was something, was a plus for him. But others know it's a given that the male child will take, the first male child will take everything. And if he chooses to give to his sibling, but now it's beginning to change. That is beginning to say, in some cultures, not all cultures, there are some cultures that give opportunity to men. Then I also believe that the laws is beginning to be a little bit, even though we're having pushback, the laws is also beginning to...
What kind of laws?
The laws of maybe, before we didn't have gender policy in this country, even though it's not respected the level we want. Before, we don't have a domestic violence law that protects women. We didn't have VAP law that speaks about sanctions and what you should do. So those are new things that are happening. Before, it was just the traditional, and that's it. If you don't want to. Even young guys are saying, no, my wedding is just about 2 people or 5 people or 10 people. Then it's the community. And everybody seems to marry the woman in the community, as long as a wife to a particular set. So those are changing. Then I'm talking about women even having ownership of properties. You have seen women now buying lands, owning properties and all that. Before, it wasn't there. Everything you own belongs to the man. In short, when you earn salary, you go and kneel before the man, say, sir, I have been paid salary. So whatever he gives you out of it, you're happy about it. But now things are beginning to, to change that narrative of women not able to own their own property.
Okay, thank you. So one of the things I'm sensing from your conversation is there are kind of like some similarities. So I'll pick on career, right? One of the things that made me double down on my career was seeing not 2 or like maybe 5 years, 6 years older than me, having their husband saying, oh, I want you to stop work. Imagine having a thriving career, you get married, your husband says, I want you to stop work because I want you to take care of the children. And then you're at home taking care of kids with little to no financial assistance. That's financial abuse. So I think that's one of the things changing, because, even when I started working, because my work entails a lot of travel, people, my peers, oh, you're traveling, you're leaving your kids at home, you're leaving your husband at home. What will your husband say? You go to places, you hear things like, oh, my wife cannot travel, things like this. But you see that things are changing a bit. You also see that even when you go for certain conferences, there are allowances for moms who want to come with their babies, to pay for nannies to come. So this is, and I'm happy because this is now giving women who would not necessarily have the opportunity, because the husband will say, oh, you can't leave this child at home, you must go with them. So now women are starting to have opportunities to be in spaces where we can discuss, learn and unlearn things that, affects us. So I'm seeing some form of similarities in different generations.
Yeah. I think we should try and round up.
Yes.
How has motherhood shaped your feminism, and how has your feminism shaped your motherhood?
Wow. Okay. So I have 2 boys, and honestly, I'm happy I have 2 boys, because when I see the crop of men that we currently have, I keep telling myself that I need to do better as a mother. So in terms of gender roles. We don't have, anyway, I don't even have a girl. So we don't even have that. You are doing what you're supposed to do. What are the basic things you should learn? Age appropriate things you should learn. You should be able to do it. I'm also teaching my son that you need to be able to take care of your, when you grow up, your, not even only your woman, like women, don't have certain mentalities. You hear things like my son's child was telling him, oh, you shouldn't cry. Why are you not crying? Show your emotions, things like that. So for me, I'm very intentional about how I train my kids, the values I instill in them. I'm not training them that, oh, you are better than women. No, we're all equal. Everybody should be treated well and with respect. And so my hope is that I train up these two boys to be wonderful young men who are able, we were talking about allies earlier in the day, who are also allies and will be able to, be the best men for the ladies that they meet.
Okay, so mine was very simple. I looked around myself and I needed support system. So the support system I had were, this whole issue about who will come and take care of you. Mm-hmm. I requested for my stepmother. Okay. My mom was angry and I said, why? I'm close to that woman. Of course, my mother-in-law has said from the very beginning, see, because you are from this particular part of the world, I'm not going to come. I wanted my son to marry from here and all that. Okay. So, but I already know. And so I had that kind of support system. Mm-hmm. My mom, my stepmother, my sister, my nieces and all that. They were all around me to help, to support me. And I think that's one thing we must have as a feminist is to understand your support system that is around you. Mm-hmm. And then you also need to know that it is not just about motherhood alone. Mm-hmm. There are other things that, for you to play the role of a mother, you need to resources. Yeah. You don't have to wait until it is the man that is doing everything, mm-hmm. and you are not. So that mentality, that's because he's my husband, so he must do. I remember my mom saying, when I come from Mugo, you will buy me Hollandis, you will buy me this. I said, so mama, so if we don't have money, what happens? Those kind of trying to change those narratives that makes a lot of women to be subservient because they want to please everybody. Yeah. So I think that for me, a lot of people have learned from me. Mm-hmm. And I'm very intentional when it talks about motherhood. I employ people. I remember employing somebody who she just had a 2-month-old baby. And she came for interview. And that was the only reason why I gave her that job. Because I wanted to prove to her that having a baby is not something. And she worked for a while. She will come and bring the baby. We create a little place for her. The admin assistant, will carry the baby and she will be doing her work. So I think that those are what we can do, creating spaces and environment and, to enable the younger generation, those who are having children, to be able to thrive. And I'm happy now you are getting government policy saying 6 months maternity leave and all that. Yeah. Yes, that is encouraged and all that. Of course, paternity leave, so that the man can also support at home. So anything that laws that speaks to, that help the process for us to be able to achieve what we want to achieve is a goal. So thank you speaking with you.
Thank you so much,
Great girl.
It was lovely hearing from you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay.